We've got House Ways and Means Committee member, a crucial voice in this battle, Pennsylvania Republican Congressman Mike Kelly. Congressman, always good to have you. Am I right to interpret things that way, that diminished expectations, that maybe big tax cuts, sweeping reform is pushed back, if at all? Maybe corporate tax cuts are in the offing, maybe just that for 2017?
No, you know what? I think that you're basing your opinions and stuff on what we actually see happening. Neil, I'm with you. But again, we've talked about this before. Coming from the private sector, you can't accept this type of behavior. You can't accept this slow pace. You either pivot quickly or you lose your market share. I think for us in Ways and Means right now, stay focused, stay on what we said we were going to do, pro-growth tax reform, in a way that makes sense. But the real lead's going to come out of the White House. The president's going to lead on it the same as President Reagan did in '86. It's going to end up being something that's bipartisan and something that the president leads on. We've got to get it done. I'm so sick and tired of saying, well, we just can't do it right now. And I'm saying the rest of the world isn't going to wait for us. You can't continue to lose your market, your base market, and think it's going to be all right. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But then again, I'm from the private sector. I should never run a business with $20 trillion in the red and think that it's okay to have deficit spending, and more deficit spending, and think we're okay because if we can't raise it in taxes, we'll print it. It's just absolutely insane.
I understand that, but maybe disavow my concerns, and I'll go through a couple of the more prominent ones, Congressman, that you know, later this fall is when Speaker Ryan says you start getting serious about, you know, a tax package. I assume that's what he means by launching one, let alone voting and approving one. That would push it really far back. The odds of that being retroactive then are next to nil, I would assume. This is increasingly looking, and I could be wrong, like a 2018 development.
No, I think from where you and I sit, that's the perception that I would have too. But the other thing is, you've got a president in the White House that says we got to get this done. He's elected because he's a get-it-done guy. He didn't get elected as a strong Republican. He got elected as a strong American who wants to get things done.
But should he get more involved in this?
Absolutely.
Because a lot of criticism of the president, too, is that, you know, he didn't really get involved in that until it was too late.
Well, you know what? No, I'm on board with you. I have such great faith in him. His leadership on this is the most important piece that we can have right now. Should he get involved? Absolutely. They're involved every day, actually. And my understanding is there's a lot of meetings that take place every day. Speaker Ryan, Chairman Brady go to the White House. They meet with their colleagues in the Senate, and they meet with the White House folks. But you know, I keep going back to who President Trump is. He cannot accept this type of a model, and he's the guy that's going to pull it out of the ditch and say, you know what? Enough screwing around. Get it fixed. Get it done. We're too far behind. And you know the mantra in Korea in 1949, 1950, the leadership in South Korea is hurry up, we're too far behind. The United States needs to understand, look, we're in that same situation. Hurry up, we're too far behind. And I'm sick and tired of sitting in a legislation that seems to think that there's no end, there's no clock that finishes things out. I do know this in my life. You either work against a calendar or a clock, and if you don't get it done, that ship sails without you. We need the president to take a real strong stance in this, and he will. Believe me, this is a guy that's going to take control and say, we're going to get this done. And you know what? It may not be all Republicans that he gets it done with. It'll never happen that way in the past. Why should it happen that way in the future? We need to get bipartisan agreement on it, get it moved forward, and give some relief to the American people. And I'm concerned about the corporate tax. Yeah, that's only 10 to 11% of our total revenue. I'm concerned about that other 89 or 90% of revenue, Neil, that's produced by hard-working American men and women who go to work every day. And they're the ones that are the biggest builders and the biggest contributors.
Could you live, Congressman? You know, obviously finding agreement on these issues is proving thornier than the health care thing, but could you live with corporate tax relief this year and the individual rates addressed next year?
But you know what? I'm looking for forward progress right now. Could I live with it in the interim? Yes, let's get that done. But I want the personal income tax to be taken care of too. The biggest issue I have myself as a business person. Look, I expect to pay taxes when I'm profitable, and all the wage taxes come from people who work and people who employ them. That's fine. But the other thing is we have people who are hurting around this country. If we can't get people's take-home pay to start to increase again, then we're really missing the boat. It is the take-home pay that's important to every man and woman in America right now. We talk in all these lofty terms, make no sense to them. When you talk to them about take-home pay, they get that. Their take-home pay is determined by the taxes.
No, your sense of urgency is right on this. That's why I want to ask you finally about whether you're bitter with your Senate colleagues and that they dropped the ball on the health care thing, maybe for perfectly justifiable reasons, but are you angry at them?
Not so much that I'm angry. It's kind of consistent. I would like to think, and you and I have had this conversation before, if we don't get more people from the private sector coming forward and serving, we can't get these things fixed. If you're worried about your political future and not the future of the people that you represent, you got this thing mixed up. You got the cart in front of the horse. I'm just so concerned that right now people have placed their well-being, in some cases, not all, ahead of the concerns of people that we represent. And those are the people that sent us here to represent them. That's my main concern. Pennsylvania's 3rd Congressional District and every single district in the country, that's who we have to respond to, and that's who we're responsible to, Neil. That's why they sent us. Get it done.
Yeah, no, you're right about all of the above. Congressman Kelly, good to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil.